Alamogordo Tiger head football coach A.J. Cisco is here with us. Coach, how are you?
I'm good, man. We're 1-0. There's a positive.
Absolutely. They're always good to start things off with a win to begin the season. Makes the busy, crazy week that you've had, I'm sure, a little bit easier to.
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, we didn't play very well, so.
Yeah. Well, it was one thing I was talking about. You guys, I thought all three phases made a difference for you guys in that game.
We did. We hit some big plays, especially right before the second end of the first half on offense. I mean, that was a big drive for us to hit 3 big plays, to get down there, score a touchdown. Defensively, second half adjustments Coach Felicetti and his staff made were phenomenal. Didn't give up a point, and then we made a couple of big plays on the special teams to put us over the top. And we told the kids after the game it was ugly. So that's an ugly W. But the beauty is once you see that record, it doesn't say ugly 1-0. It just says 1-0. And a lot of credit goes to Coach Alcorn and his kids and his staff at Bloomfield. They had a good game plan. Gave us fits, and you kind of saw what 4 days of practice looked like.
Well, and I mean, that's you talked about it last week. You had talked about it before you guys got into practice. That wasn't altogether unexpected for it to be that kind of an ugly game, right?
Yeah, it was not a total shock. I mean, I thought we would have played better and executed better, especially offensively, mentally, and doing some things. I mean, we screwed up about every blocking scheme we known to man. Talking to coaches that got our film, they had to tell their other coaches, that's not how they're supposed to block that, just so you know. But we did, and like I said, it's a tribute to our kids that they were resilient and found ways to make enough plays to win a game, and that's kudos to them. That's kind of where we're taking this program from where we were at 4 years ago to this point. Is 4 years ago we weren't going to have a chance to win that game, and we found ways to make plays and then get some big plays at the end to make sure we ice the game out and run the clock out. So, like I said, it's a big thing to start your season 1-0, especially after what all these kids have been through. Yeah. That was huge. 4 days of practice, it is what it is. Everybody else is going through it now too. So maybe we'll be better this week after 9 days of practice.
There you go, and also having a game under your belt too. Yeah. I mean, I have to imagine for some of even the guys that were seniors and had experience, there had to be a little bit of jitters, getting into your first game in well over a year, right?
Yeah, we had some seniors that said they were shaking.
Yeah,
and so that it was cool. It was a surreal environment doing pregame, and then all the protocols you got to follow. That was completely different for everybody. But once we kicked it off, it felt like football. Yep. And there was a sense of normalcy in our kids' lives, which hasn't been there in a long time. And it was fun. I mean, you got to see kids smile, even through the good times, bad times. And it felt like an actual football game, and you forgot about everything else going on in the real world and got sucked into the moment. Yeah,
it was nice also to have fans in the stands too. I'm sure that made a big difference for the guys as well.
That was cool. I mean, it was a pain in the butt on Friday dealing with tickets and getting them to everybody. A big credit to Bernalillo High School, their administration, taking that on, working with us in the last second to get fans up there and doing those things and making a good environment for that first game for our kids. And I know Coach Johnson and his staff, Ruidoso, are doing the same thing for our fans to get that taken care of for this week. And that's a credit to admin that's going to continue to do what's best for kids. And it was cool to get our parents up there and watch their kids play.
Yeah, and so this week the parents are getting tickets just like they did last week, and those extra tickets are just extra tickets on top of that are getting sold?
We were allotted 270 tickets.
Okay.
Every kid received the option to get 6. And what we did is we submitted all their names. Those are reserved, and then the parents will check in at the gate, get their name marked off, pay for the ticket. Whatever's left over, which I believe was about 120, is general admission for anybody who wants to drive up there. Okay. And it's on a first-come, first-served basis.
Okay. So that's what that may provide some more people to get in because the parents and the friends are already getting
They're already
into
taken
the
care of.
game.
There's 120 for anybody else that wants to make the trip up the mountain and go watch the Tigers play football tomorrow night.
There you go. And one of the fun venues to see football in across the state of New Mexico. It's one of the more unique places out there.
W.D. Horton is one of the most beautiful places to play a football game. You've got to be there a couple times and see it, and then I've grown up being there. It's a phenomenal atmosphere. Once again, it's surreal at the start when there's nobody in the stadium until about 6:30 except you guys. So, but the view, you get up there and you get to stare at that mountain and the view and the trees all around it. It's a cool place. The grass is beautiful, lush. They do a great job of maintaining that, and it's fun to get up there and play.
Should note, if you're going, dress warm because it's going to be cold and windy on Friday night.
That's what I was telling Coach Johnson. I said, this is going to rain, man. Last time we were up there was no rain, and we got dumped on 2 years ago.
It did. I remember that. Had a little bit of a delay. I think it was right before or after halftime. I think
right after halftime, and it was just dumping. I was like, none of us were prepared for that either. That goes on us coaches for not being dressed warm enough.
Yeah, so just be aware, everybody, if you're planning on going to the game, make sure you got layers going on if you're going up there. Going back to the game against Bloomfield, what is that you guys saw defensively that changed up from first half to second half? Because they were giving you guys some problems in the first half.
They did a lot of stuff, and it was a bunch of our, I want to say, immaturity, our young kids who haven't got to play at that level yet, being able to adjust on the run. And when they're running their stick routes and their crossing routes, we were chasing stuff. We were jumping stuff too early, what we call eye candy. Coach Phil said he worked on that at halftime while we were in the end zone.
Yeah. No locker room. You guys are just hanging out there in the end zone.
And so they did a good job. And like I said, we have a bunch of young kids on defense that have never played before at this level or played in our program who may have moved in. So that was huge for them to get that confidence and then playing really well. We did a great job in the box, not letting them run the football. I mean, the only thing that killed us is the quarterback getting out and scrambling. We had a big game in the secondary. We didn't give up a whole lot of big plays, and Raynard McNeil played phenomenal in the secondary for us. And it's kind of the captain back there. So it's a credit all the way around up there. I mean, we made a bunch of changes second half to get after him, and we did. Well, I'd like to see us cut down on the dumb penalties that we had that extended some drives and get us off the field. But Bloomfield's not a bad school. I mean, everybody thinks they're a 4A school. They've been in the state championship 2 years in a row. They returned a bunch of kids from that team from last year.
Yep.
They're going to give fits to a whole lot of people the rest of this year.
Yeah, they definitely have got some talented kids, that's to say the least. And then offensively, it just seemed like you guys were almost there. You talked about the blocking schemes having struggles. Anthony Mello, there are probably 2 or 3 plays that if he got his accuracy, you guys score touchdowns on a couple.
Yeah, and then when we watched film with those kids on Monday, short week, so watch film on Monday with those kids. I mean, we left 4 or 5 touchdowns on the field, and a couple of those are balls that Mel's got to throw. I mean, one of those picks the young man threw, he made a bad read. If he reads it the right way, it's a touchdown, and it's a 60-yard touchdown pass. So those things we got to get fixed, but that's also his first start. And he's also a kid who was injured last year, didn't get a whole lot of reps because he was hurt. So it's a growing pains for a lot of people. Up front was the real disappointing part for us, was the fact that we didn't execute a whole lot of what we want to do correctly. And you saw Sean's big run of 30 yards. We run the play again, and we screw that blocking scheme up and block it completely different. So we've spent a lot of time with our kids, and our kids are accountable for it. They understand that's a huge part of our success is being able to run the football and block things, and they got to grow up and do those things. And they've done a great job responding this week of making sure they understand the scheme's adjusting when the defenses adjust. So credit to our coaches, our O-line coaches, for taking care of that and getting our kids to hopefully play better come tomorrow night, and we think we are.
And now you actually have some tape on somebody going into a game this week, which has got to be nice.
That is also positive.
For you guys.
We went into that thing really blind last week and not knowing anything. And like I said, Bloomfield came out, and I was talking to the coach. I said, we got all their films from last year and saw them. They never played anybody with a tight end. So we had no idea what we were going to get defensively. And they did a great job scheme-wise to give us fits. I mean, there's 9 guys in the box, and they did a great job to give us fits. So that's credit to Coach Alcorn. But we got film on Doso. They played really well against Lovington for a little bit, and then kind of the wheels fell off for them. But one thing I'll tell you about Coach Johnson up there is he's one of the best coaches in the state. He will do a lot of things to give his kids a chance to be successful, and our kids know we're in for a dogfight.
A little bit of a different, what you're going to see from them offensively different from last week, or will there be some carryovers, you feel like, from what the kids saw last week?
There'll be some carryovers. I mean, he's very good about coming up with some wrinkles. He's always got a couple of trick plays up his sleeve he's going to throw at us. We've got to be very sound in what we do in that regard. But like I said, he's one of the best coaches in the state, and he's going to find a lot of ways to try to either steal possessions or steal points.
And for you offensively, it certainly sounds like the big thing for you is you want to see your blocking get better from last week, and you all feel like you can run the football better than you did last week.
We should be able to. I mean, physically, we think we're pretty good up front on the offensive line. Mentally is where we struggled last week, and that's a thing that goes back to 4 days of practice. Our kids, we have all kids who've never played a varsity football game on the offensive line, and so that was all brand new for them, and that's not an excuse. I mean, that's our job as coaches. We got to fix that, and we got to get that corrected by tomorrow night. So we want to see Mello throw the ball better. You go back to he does a lot of things really well for us. The touchdown play he made on the touchdown pass was him scrambling, improvising, and making a play and throwing a good ball. And he's got to be able to hit some of those home runs. When we take our shots, we got to capitalize on those shots and hit those plays. And if we do those things, that game's probably not as close last week if we take advantage of the opportunities that we got.
Well, we'll certainly look forward to what'll be a good game. I'm sure you want special teams to do as well as it did last week and got a long field goal. Thought Braden flipped the field for you guys a couple of times, and of course the punt block was huge.
Yeah, it didn't start off well. I think we burned 3 timeouts with personnel on special teams, and that's just all of those first game things and not having time. But our special teams responded. Braden did a great job kicking, got a field goal in, and did flip the field for us defensively and pinned them deep a couple of times, which benefited us. And then as us on offense, we got to take advantage of that. When we got short fields, we did a terrible job of taking advantage of that and putting points on the board. And then the block punt. I mean, that was a huge play. Kind of really swung the momentum that entire game because it was 14-3. We go and score right before the end of the first half, which was huge to make it a 14-9 game, and then blocked the punt early in the third quarter, and then kind of just had to put it away.
All right, Coach. Well, it was fun to finally see some football last week, and we're looking forward to hopefully a fun Friday night coming up tomorrow.
Awesome, man. I got a new shout-out to give this week. We got Dr. Reese at Alamo Orthodontics over there by Walmart. Is fitting our varsity football players with mouthpieces.
Awesome.
That'll fit over his teeth. So I'm doing that free of charge for our kids, and they're going to go and start getting those tomorrow. So hopefully we alleviate the issue of mouthpieces coming in, coming out, doing all that stuff. So huge shout out to him and his company. They're a phenomenal job, and we want to see all those fans that can make it up to the mountain. The game will be live streamed on Ruidoso Football's Facebook page.
Okay.
We also have an intra-squad tonight. We have our young kids are going to get an intra-squad game in. Unfortunately, fans are not allowed. It is considered a practice, but they will play their first game next week, and fans will be allowed because we're Yellow County.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. Coach, we appreciate it.
Appreciate it, brother. Go Tigers.